I was just thinking, like, wow, I had this incredibly transformative physical and spiritual, emotional experience, and I'm just like vlogging it. Recently, I nearly died while filming a solo mountain bike trip, and when I watched Mitchell's footage,
wait for a nice window, go for the summit push,
and read Krakauer's story, I realized I wasn't just interested in Everest. I was interested in how we face death and what it means to turn our darkest moments into content.
I was young and reckless and did a similarly stupid trip in Alaska, a very serious climb, major solo expedition on the Stikine ice cap to climb a mountain called the Devil's Thumb, and I was very lucky. I survived. If I hadn't, people would have said of me, as they now say of Chris, that I had a death wish, and I know I didn't. And some people say he was out to kill himself, and I feel strongly that he wasn't. I mean, it's a matter.
What was your wish?
Same thing. It's hard to articulate because it defies logic. I thought if I picked a challenge that was hard enough and succeeded, everything thereafter would be all right.
In 1996, journalist Jon Krakauer nearly died while climbing Mount Everest, and his account of the disaster, Into Thin Air, shaped how an entire generation understood the risks and the ethics of commercial high-altitude climbing. In 2024, YouTuber Ryan Mitchell documented the same ascent with a GoPro, capturing every step of his summit attempt in real time. Two first-person narratives of the same mountain, but told in entirely different media for entirely different audiences.
Thanks very much for coming. Thanks to Jeff. You guys don't know that, but Jeff was actually one of my main inspirations when I became a freelance writer. He was actually one of the first writers I knew who actually wrote for a living, and he's a wonderful writer. And without further delay, if we could turn the lights out. Outside Magazine asked me to go there as a journalist. They were concerned about this recent trend over the last, it's only been the last 4 or 5 years really, since it's really started in a big way, that Everest has been opened up to ordinary amateur climbers, relatively inexperienced climbers who pay $65,000 to be guided up the mountain. The magazine wasn't sure this was such a good idea, so they sent me along on one of these trips to observe it and write about it.
Krakauer joined Adventure Consultants, a New Zealand-based outfit led by Rob Hall. Hall was one of the most respected guides on the mountain, known for his competence, composure, and history of successful summit attempts. His clients included professionals, hobbyists, and even a New York socialite who wanted to climb the world's tallest mountain. Some had a lot of climbing experience, but some certainly did not. And what's interesting here is Krakauer wasn't just observing. He was part of the team. He shared a tent, carried his own load, and acclimatized alongside everyone else. But he was different. He was observing, asking questions, taking notes, and he had a reputation.
I can't believe it.
Let's go! I knew I was. I knew she was. Yeah, thank you, John. Cheers, man. When'd she do?
Mid-July, as soon as I get back.
Oh, you better sleep now, buddy.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, Rob. Yeah. Jan doesn't mind you being here.
Uh-oh. Krakauer's sword is unleashed.
It's okay, Jan's a climber, John. She gets it.
In the aftermath, a few even disputed Krakauer's portrayal of events, and some relationships fractured completely. Nearly 30 years later, Everest is still commercial. If anything, more so. But the coverage has changed. Ryan Mitchell wasn't sent by a publication. He was actually an extremely successful Minecraft YouTuber.
I've just quit my YouTube channel with over 1.7 million subscribers. I'll just be able to post on this channel, which has an astounding 22 subscribers. 2022, I was like early 2023, late 2022. Decided I wanted to climb Everest, just randomly out of the blue. If any of you know the story, I was just like watching some random, I wanted to make a YouTube video about climbing Mount Everest. And then I looked at some documentary, I was like, wait, this is sick. I want to do this.
He booked a spot on a guided expedition, paid his own way, spending about $150,000 of his own money from his Minecraft YouTube channel, and brought along a GoPro. In that sense, his trip is self-funded and self-driven, but Like Krakauer, he didn't climb alone. He was still part of a larger team and commercial enterprise, one that included Sherpas, guides, and fellow clients. The focus remained squarely on him, on Ryan Mitchell's experience, his narration, his body, his breath. The GoPro is mounted to his helmet, and we see what he sees.
Heading up into the Khumbu. We got a heavy pack today. It's gonna be a grind, but currently still in base camp trekking through here. Furba in the front, almost in the ice fall. Look at this.
You start climbing at 4 in the morning before dawn because it's 5 or 10 degrees there, and you want to do it when it's cold because Everest is just north of the tropical latitudes, and it's intense ultraviolet radiation. And when the sun hits about 8 or 8:30, it gets hot, and the glacier then gets even more active. So you have to go through the icefall. Every time you go up to doing an acclimatization trip, you have to go through the icefall. We did it 8 times. And it's scary. I was gripped every time. There's all these crevasse crossings. They're all rigged with ropes and ladders. It doesn't take any technical skill, but a lot of times I crawled across these ladders on my hands and knees. I had no pride. I mean, it's scary. And sometimes the next day you might come up and the glacier would have shifted and this ladder would be bent like a pretzel or it'd be dropped into the crevasse. These huge ice blocks are always shifting. You hear them collapsing around you. Every trip up, the glacier looks different. You just hope you're not under one or on top of one when it goes. 19 people have died in this ice fall.
Nice crevasse right here. Beautiful sunrise in the Khumbu. Ooh. That was sketchy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Kind of stuck the back of my thing.
Yeah.
Look at this thing, eh?
It's a masterpiece. Very nice. This wall is gonna suck so bad. You got this. There you go.
There's no effort to reconstruct others' experiences or explain what his teammates or the other Sherpas were thinking. It's a first-person account in the literal sense. And yet, despite all the changes in technology and media, the climb itself hasn't changed much. The altitude is the same. The Khumbu icefall is just as unstable. Climbers climb the same route and camp in the same camps. Most deaths still happen on the descent after climbers have pushed their bodies beyond exhaustion above the death zone. What connects the two isn't just Everest, it's the tension between being inside the experience and trying to document it. I understand the pull, the need to do these things and take these risks. I was alone filming a remote and difficult mountain bike route, and I set out to just make a fun YouTube video with my GoPro, but things started going wrong and I found myself in a very serious situation. Well, I have worn through my brake pads and I did not bring spares, like an actual idiot. So that is a pretty serious problem. I just have my rear right now, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Fuck. It's really slow going. I was doing that hike-a-bike section and I was just like in a daze. I was so hot and it was totally exposed and I was just in direct view of the sun, and As I got closer to the top, I realized that I couldn't remember the last 30 minutes, and I thought, like, oh, I should sit down. And the moment I sat down, I started feeling almost like this like overwhelming urge to sleep, and this feeling of like euphoria. I started thinking about death. I was like, am I like ready to die? I started thinking like, it might be nice to sleep. And I like pulled out my bivvy, but something in my head was telling me like, oh, I probably should not sleep. I imagined somebody finding my body in my bivvy and a GoPro with footage from my trip. And I felt this deep, stubborn refusal to allow someone else to tell my story. I was focused on survival, but I was also thinking about the camera. Should I be recording this? Would that footage help me tell my story later? In that moment on that trip, facing death, I believed fully, and I still believe in God. I prayed, I begged, and when I realized that I was gonna make it safely off of the mountain, I sobbed. As I got closer to Ojai, back within cell range, back within reach of normal life, I started thinking about how great the footage from this trip would be. I'm a runner, and I do long distance runs of like probably max 12 miles, which isn't that much, but anyways, I was just thinking like, wow, I had this incredibly transformative physical and spiritual, emotional experience, and I'm just like vlogging it at the end. I think it's a good video idea, but I feel a little icky about it. What does that say about me? Maybe it's just how I coped, or maybe it's what our culture trains us to do, to turn awe into content, to distract ourselves from our own mortality. That's why when I was done editing the video, I turned to Into Thin Air. Krakauer was also trying to process something impossible. And that's also why Mitchell's video struck me too, because he filmed through exhaustion, through danger, without turning away from what he was facing.
I felt like I was in outer space here. I mean, it's so, this environment is so harsh. The margin of surviving and not is very, very slim, and there's no forgetting it. I mean, you're breathing oxygen, you feel totally dependent on your life support systems. You're in this big down suit, like a space suit that's sort of cutting you off from the world. Your brain is, even with oxygen, your brain is operating on the level of a lower reptile. It's all you can do to think about where you're gonna put your feet, and you better think about that because there aren't fixed ropes for much of this, and if you trip, you know, it's a long way down. This is what it's really like to climb Everest. It's a huge f***ing ordeal.
The Everest expedition lasts more than 40 days, and during that time, he was hypoxic, sleep deprived, and traumatized from the worst disaster Everest had ever seen. Mitchell, on the other hand, has a camera. In theory, that gives him a more objective record, but filming Everest is not easy. That decision, what to document, and when, is its own kind of narrative. It's an editorial choice made in real time under real pressure. When you're gasping for oxygen at 28,000 feet, you're not thinking about cinematic framing or how a shot is gonna look. When you're trying to stay alive, recording isn't the priority. So the choice of what to film and what not to really matters in this context. On the other hand, Krakauer's medium, print, lets his story breathe. He can create a layered and complex account of what actually happened.
And I thought, this is it, it's all over. You know, I thought, too bad, not this year. amazing thing happened. 7 p.m., all of a sudden the wind just died, stone cold, no wind. Rob Hall, acting like he knew this was going to happen all along, calls over, saddle up, John-O, you know, we're climbing. And just before midnight, we started to climb, and it was amazing. Amadablam, Kentega, and Tamserku, these beautiful peaks that seemed so big before now seem small. So Angorji and I sat down to wait because Rob Hall had told us 2 things on Summit Day that were critically important. The first of them was, whoever's out in front, when you get to the balcony, I want you to wait until we've all assembled there because I can't have you guys scattered over the whole damn mountain. So fine, Angorji and I sat down to wait. Mike Groom arrived a few minutes later, and it's cold now. It's, you know, it's probably 40 below at its coldest, maybe colder. You can see the icicles hanging off his oxygen mask. It was bitter, but the sun's coming up. There's Makalu, that west face.
Our bodies will be literally dying, and I mean literally dying. It's not called the death zone for nothing, guys. So the game is, can we get you up to the top and down to the bottom before that happens?
And people wonder, why didn't people heed these strict turnaround times? But I understand, because if I'm honest with myself, and I'm right here at the South Summit, let's say it's 1:30, and Rob Hall tells me, sorry, John-O, you got to turn around. If I'm honest with myself, I'm probably going to tell Rob to stuff it, that I'm going up there, because I've suffered for a month, and I'm not ever going to be back here. And it looks so close, the temptation is to go anyway, and a lot of people did that. And it's dangerous to yourself and to your whole team. This is the summit, by the way, and we can see it now, and there's no turning back now. I mean, we got it, you know, locked in the crosshairs. And indeed, just after 1 o'clock, first Anatoly, then me, then Andy, reached the highest point on Earth. And this is Andy, who'd become a good friend by now, standing on the summit. This is the survey marker that had been put up there in '93 by an Italian team. Anatoly's draped it with prayer flags. I think Anatoly put them there. There's an old oxygen bottle someone left from the year before. So I took this picture of Andy, but I was in no mood to celebrate. I hadn't slept in more than 2 days or eaten in more than 2 days, and I was really frightened because I'd done something really stupid. We each had 3 oxygen bottles on the summit day. But when I got to the South Summit, I was in...
So now we were on the summit ridge, looking out all over Nepal, and now, as we went over that small little hill, we could see the summit, and it wasn't too crowded at all. In just 5 hours, me and Furba went from Camp 4 all the way to the summits. I'm not gonna lie, it did look a little messy, to say the least. People had left stuff up here, which doesn't make much sense at all, but it really didn't take away from the moment at all. Even though there wasn't any view, this was the highest you could go. There's no other point besides this. So we made our way up to enjoy our small moment on the summit.
Krakauer gives us the psychology of the climb, the guilt, the trauma, the fragmentation of memories. Mitchell gives us the physicality, how the wind sounds, how his voice changes at altitude, how his body breaks down as the climb goes on. Neither version is complete, but taken together, they show us something interesting. The medium isn't just how a story is told, it is the story. Krakauer reflects. He reconstructs. He asks hard questions about responsibility, about the ethics of guiding. He's trying to make sense of what happened. Mitchell narrates. He doesn't analyze so much as experience. There's very little moral reflection, but there is awe and physical vulnerability. Krakauer doesn't show us what Everest looks like, but he gives us what it means. Mitchell doesn't tell us what it means, but he shows us what it feels like. YouTube doesn't reward reflection. It rewards intensity. It favors presence over perspective. And when that becomes the dominant mode of storytelling, we lose something. We used to read survival stories to help us make sense of death. Now we watch them to feel like we survived. I don't think it's because people are less curious or less interested in death, but curiosity has been restructured. And Everest, like everything else, gets adapted to that attention economy. Still, we're drawn to it. We want to see what it's like up there. We want the drama, the struggle, the summit. We want a window into an extraordinary moment, but maybe not a mirror. Need to charge my phone to post something on Instagram. And that's the difference. Into thin air is a mirror. Mitchell's video is a window, and both matter. But only one demands something of you after you close it.
And the search was for what? Chris's search?
Yeah,
My search?
well, both.
You know, I relived and rethought some of the many things in my youth, the trip I did and why I did it. Chris had a stormy relationship with his father, as I did, so I re-explored all this ground, and it was hard, and it was hard to write about, but so I think I know a little bit more about myself. There's nothing profound. I mean, wisdom comes incrementally, and this was maybe a large increment.
Will you film me?
Just see what happens when the summer ends.
This is a small channel, so every bit of support helps me continue making videos like this. Video essays, documentaries, personal stories, that kind of thing. And if you want to see more, please hit subscribe. And yeah, I'm grateful you made it this far. See you next time. Bye.